Okay, welcome to Training the Other Hand. Better together, parents do make a difference. Teachers are not the only literacy educators in the lives of children. Parents also play an important role. Not only in the sense of getting them to and from school, but helping them with homework and influencing them and exposing them to things around the world. Parents help with homework, and they talk with their kids about books. They know mostly that they have an educational responsibility, but often they're uncertain about how to best support their children in their educational lives. In fact, feelings of inadequacy arise when parents are faced with homework that they're not sure on the directions, or they're not sure how to teach the same thing that was taught in class. And a lot of times this actually decreases the parent's involvement with the child's education because they just decide, well, I can't do it, so I'm not going to do it. So I'm here today to tell you that as teachers and administrators, it is up to us to not only educate our students, but also to educate our parents and to help them understand the best way that they can contribute to their child's success. The problem is they lack the training and confidence to help their student, to help their child. So through this workshop, you're going to learn methods on how to train your parents to best engage and support their children and your students in their literacy educational goals. So we're going to start with a short video. It's called Families and Schools as Partners. And this video is about 8 minutes long.
I love my children, and I want them to be successful.
Well, smell it here. How do they smell? Good?
The research is very clear. It's undisputed. The greater likelihood of a child's academic success is directly linked to family and parental involvement.
Educators have looked at family engagement as that extra piece. But families are a part of education. Families are an educational strategy.
If we really want to go from being a good school to a great school, if we want to close the achievement gap, we can't do it without partnerships with families.
There are 5,000 schools across our country that the U.S. Department of Education has identified as failing, where a majority of students are not reaching academic standards. One common denominator many of them share is families who are minimally or not at all involved in their children's education.
Every parent wants their student to graduate. Every parent wants to see their kids come home with test scores of 100% or better. We have a lot of kids who not only aren't coming home with those kinds of test scores, but who aren't even graduating at all.
Up to a third of our kids are not going to graduate from high school, or if they do graduate from high school, they won't have the skills they need to succeed in any kind of post-secondary education. We have a real education crisis.
The crisis is worst in urban and rural communities where the majority of low-performing schools are located, and the achievement gap is widest.
When you have an excess of that is not an area where we need to be a little bit better at. We really need to look at transforming education. And one way to do that is to engage the families of those children.
We know more needs to be done to get kids out of this achievement gap. And I think our time is up.
Efforts focus on a number of core strategies, from increasing school accountability to improving teacher quality. But there is one area that, if tapped, will raise student achievement dramatically.
You like made up stuff.
Family engagement.
He did a nice job on. Good job. I don't know that he has a whole lot that he needs to improve on.
The school-parent partnership is an essential component of a child's education.
We have 40 years of research that shows that family involvement in kids' learning and development at home and then at school is one of the strongest predictors of how kids do in school.
The research is very clear. It's undisputed. The greater likelihood of a child's academic success is directly linked to family and parental involvement.
What's your name? Oh, is he a pharaoh?
Parental involvement, I'd like to almost rephrase that and call it parental engagement. To me, being involved means you do a bake sale, you color T-shirts. Parental engagement is just totally different. It means becoming part and parcel of the decision-making in education in our country.
In the past, and perhaps even in the present, family engagement, while it's being talked about, has not really been looked at as a key strategy to student success. And in fact, it is. No matter the socioeconomic status of a family, no matter where a family lives, no matter their culture or their race, when a family is engaged in their child's education, that child is more successful in school.
I just like watching my kids just to see their reaction from things. Kids are like sponges, so they're gonna absorb everything that you teach them. I just try to encourage them every day to be the best that they can be. I want to show them a father figure, something that I didn't have. All right, Alicia, let's see what you're gonna mix in there with that yellow. What color did you get, baby? You're doing a good job, baby.
It really is a tale of two cities. In some communities, particularly communities that have lots of parental involvement, lots of father involvement, our kids are doing better academically. But in some communities, minority communities, or some of the poor communities in particular, where father absence tends to be higher, we know that we've got some issues there.
In all honesty, I never really felt that it was a true team. I always felt that it was a perceived team. Like, here's your role, this is what we do. We don't need you to interfere, but when we want you here, this is what we need you to do. And so a lot of times parents don't feel like they have a voice or their voice is being stifled. It's very important for parents to have voices about issues, about things, so they can be role models for their kids. A lot of times I don't think they even recognize that their own power. They have the power to influence, the power to impact and make change.
As a result of No Child Left Behind, where many, many educators now understand that they alone cannot educate children. And they're looking to families for help.
Go into the library. Ooh, this looks like a fun book. Tiny Green Thumbs. What number is that?
Those families can be an enormous help if you reach out to them and together shape ways for meaningful family involvement at home and at school. If educators are able to do that, I think it will raise the needle on student achievement dramatically.
Good morning. How are you today? Being a school in need of improvement, we can't do it alone. We need the support of the parents. So we want to make sure that the parents are on the same boat with us. There is a need. This is a school in their community. Let's work together.
Family engagement is really the key, and one of the key missing ingredients to helping students achieve more and to reach their potential.
This is unacceptable.
I think we all have a part to play,
I can't even read this. They're too close.
but I believe firmly that it's parents who are going to reform education. It's parents who are going to significantly close the achievement gap.
Very good, Hanifa.
It isn't always as easy as it seems, but it's far more important than anyone can imagine.
The first report card, I was crushed because his average was a 69. He has never gotten a 69. And I was crushed. I wanted to cry. Like, what am I doing wrong? His games, that PS2, done. And everybody was just transfixed in front of the television. And I said, you know what? This is it. No more television. I think she means writers help us look at the world differently. Okay, so Oprah Winfrey, I would go into that school every day before I went to work and look at his classroom, sit in his class, speak to his teachers, so that he knows I am present and accounted for. I am proud of myself that I can take my household and transfix it into something amazing.
A little sparkle lit in the boy's eyes. It's something I learned from my father.
I love my children, and I want them to be successful.
is the activator. I don't know what that means.
It causes whatever chemical reaction.
Yeah, and you be involved with their child's literacy. Okay, so as you can see, there is an importance for families to be involved with their students' education. Not only should they be involved, but they should be engaged. And I noticed them using that word in that video. Involved means you're attending carnivals after school. You're coming to open house. You're helping your child with a project. Engaged means you are daily helping them with whatever they're learning in class. You're reinforcing it at home, and you're helping the teacher. You're the other teacher. That's why the title of this session is Better Together, Training the Other Hand. So parents, however, oftentimes get frustrated, as I mentioned before. What do we do? How do we help our child every day after school? These directions aren't clear to me. The teacher didn't explain it well, or I'm not sure how to help, so maybe I won't. Maybe we'll just, go early in the morning and tell the teacher we didn't understand the homework, so maybe he can do it in class and you can re-explain it. That happens often. But as teachers, it really is up to us to communicate and to tell the parents what they can do to help their students at home, and to essentially educate the parents on the strategies and things that we're using in class. So what can we do to do that? Any ideas? How can we train parents? Any suggestions? Should we just set up a night and say, hey, parents, come, we're going to train you from 6 to 10?
You shouldn't have to, because we all went to school already.
Right. Most of you, or most parents, are going to be educated, or at least have a high school diploma, or they're out in the field. Even if they don't have a high school diploma, they're working every day and learning from experience. So you shouldn't have to train them, but what about in the way that you want them to reiterate what you're teaching in class? Are they going to know exactly what you taught in class that day? Are they going to know how you expect the students to answer the question? Maybe it's an analyzation question about what this story means, not what's the sequence of the story. Are you familiar with that? If you're a parent, have you recently analyzed a story? Maybe. As a parent, no, probably not unless you have extra time. But so, as I said, it is up to us to educate our parents, and so we're going to talk about some methods throughout this whole workshop that you can use to train your parents. There's also several parent training methods that are going around in the United States right now, such as just little short 1-hour information sessions on what's going on, let's say what's going on in kindergarten this week, and they come in and they teach what exactly and how exactly they're teaching, so that parents can reiterate it and reinforce it at home. So, to demonstrate the importance of training parents in literacy instruction and, in training parents in literacy instruction and support, you guys are going to participate in an activity, and you're going to work in groups, so you should be already sitting by your partner. One team is going to receive the actual instructions, or you're going to have a YouTube link. Y'all have already pulled up the YouTube link. You cannot share this link with the other group. You should have materials sitting in front of you, and those should include 1 bottle of glue for each group. Make sure you check off your list. 1 cup of warm water, or 1, yeah, that's the cup, those are the measuring cups. Borax, shaving cream, we're not going to do that one. We're just going to do the simple one.
Do the borax, right?
Yes. And a plastic bowl and a stirring spoon. Everybody's got that. Okay, so if you have the YouTube link, you can go ahead and watch the video. And if you do not have the YouTube link, you are going to choose one of you to be the teacher, and you're going to tell the other one how to make slime. Tell them what to do, and that person's going to do it. And you have to do everything the teacher says. So, can you wake this man up, please? Thank you, sir. Okay, so who would like to be the teacher? Okay, no? You want to be the one that makes it?
Sure.
Okay. Jason, Mr. St. Marie, you're going to have to tell the other Mr. St. Marie how to make the slime. And you can't touch the supplies.
But I don't know how to make it.
Exactly. So you have to look at what you have.
And I don't have any shaving cream.
You don't need shaving cream. That was for a different project. Okay. And you guys can watch the video. If you feel like you need to go in a different part of the room so they can't hear it, that would be an excellent choice. Okay.
Well,
so you'll have 10 to 15 minutes to create the slime.
can I try it more than once? And can I do it before I try to teach him?
No.
Well, I'm going to presume that this has to be something simple proportionally. And I'm going to guess that the major component is water. Probably going to need...
Go get this one warm in.
Okay. I don't know how this is going to work, because I have no idea. We have borax, water.
Alright, here's your warm water. Not attempting anything yet, I see.
No, I don't know what to teach him.
Well,
I'm formulating. I only got 3 components. There's got to be a way to do it.
decide what is the largest component.
It's water.
Okay.
Your papa? Your papa. Alright, let's give it a go. Okay. Take you some of this. Not as much as you can fit in there. Nice. Add probably one of these. Nice one. So, then you add your borax here first. And then about this much warm water. swapping in the Elmer's glue, and we'll just see what happens. I think it's going to take a while. I don't know. Well, think about slime's got to be pretty thick. So I just started dumping it in there.
How much water are we in?
We have one of these. At a minimum, probably.
I'll have to watch the video over and over again. I was just reading the captions.
Okay.
Wait, then I can see it.
It's okay. We're beyond our point of return because our borax had water in it.
Oh, how did that happen?
Well, we already added our borax that I assumed was the right amount. You want to go that way? Borax is the word. I don't know what it does, but
Borax is the activator. I don't know what that means.
it causes whatever chemical reaction.
Yeah, and if you leave it, I just assumed it's too sticky with water.
Borax is the activator. I don't know what that means.
It causes whatever chemical reaction.
Yeah, and if you leave it, I just assumed it's too sticky with water.
Cold.
Air conditioner down. Maybe. Turn the air conditioner down. It's not cold.
You mean up?
Okay. Well, we don't know what we're doing, okay?
Engineers over there.
Theirs is growing.
How does it feel?
Probably too much water.
It shouldn't be sticky.
Torque them off.
Maybe it just takes time. I think your fingers actually help it. I don't know. I read something about the old fingers. Maybe.
That's feeling good.
Okay. Okay, y'all have 1 minute. We all have 1 minute? Yeah. Or 30 seconds. Go ahead and wrap it up.
Yours is pretty pretty. Yeah, but it's supposed to be. Is it?
Our glue actually got hard.
As long as it's better than theirs.
As long as it's better. It is.
It'd be like
Okay, go ahead and
hours.
demonstrate for the camera what each of yours looks like. I'll let you throw that up, please. And if you can just hold it so that the camera can see. So this is the team that did not have directions. It looks like, yes, cottage cheese, but definitely not edible. Okay. Yeah. And would you like to show? Yes. So, as you can see, the team that had the directions, their slime looks quite like it's supposed to look. They still had some stickiness to it, but that's all right. We're working. At least it looks right. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question to both team, or to this team first. Why do you think that you were frustrated?
Well, I wasn't ever actually frustrated.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty patient.
You're pretty patient. Okay.
But
Mr. St. Marie over there, were you frustrated at all through this process?
No, because I didn't know what to expect.
Okay. Okay.
But nonetheless, yeah, I wish I would have known at least proportionally what to do rather than just given the tools and no directions.
Right. So let's pretend like you were a parent and your child came home and said, my teacher told me we have to make slime tonight. And you don't have any internet in this instance.
Right.
What would you feel like? Maybe you might have some feelings towards the teacher, or...
Well, if that's the case, I probably wouldn't have actually gotten any direction as far as even what components go in it, right?
Let's say you had the materials like you did today.
Okay. Probably would send my kid to school with something that looks like cottage cheese.
So you would try.
Yeah.
You would try, but maybe you might not get the same result.
Right.
Okay, so a lot of times that's what happens with parents. Their child comes home with homework and they are like, I do not know what to do with this. It's a reading passage with lines after it.
It's Common Core.
What am I supposed to do?
I don't do Common Core.
Okay, so they're frustrated, but they try, right? And their kid may be sitting there going, this is not what Miss Smith said. I'm going to listen to my dad because I might get in trouble if I don't, but I'm pretty sure that this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. And so now the child lacks confidence in their own parents, right?
Right.
And that's definitely not conducive to a good home educational environment, because the child needs to be able to trust and respect their teachers and their parents as partners in their education. So that's the reason parents need to be trained. All right, so how about this team? How did you feel about how your experiment resulted?
Pretty confident.
Yeah, you had directions. Okay, so this, yeah, they did a great job. So this team represents the parents that get the same instructions that the teacher taught in class. The same method, the same proportions, the same strategy, everything's the same. So it turns out the way that the teacher wanted it to turn out, just like the child's learning should turn out as they go home and work with their parents, the same as it should when they're working with their teacher. So the partners on the teams with no YouTube link, you represent the students and the teachers. So the student was you, right, sir? And you were the teacher. Okay. So it is common for the frustration experienced by the teams to be felt by students and parents while trying to figure out homework assignments.
Sure.
Parents feel this frustration when they do not understand how to help their child master a skill or practice their weakness, and students are feeling frustrated with their parents because their teachers aren't teaching the same way. Okay, so here are a few other things that are affecting parents when they don't necessarily understand how the teacher wants it to be taught at home. Parents feel like they don't know how to help their children succeed in literacy. Parents don't want to seem incompetent, so they don't ask the teacher. Students get frustrated when parents are not teaching literacy the same way as their teacher does, and they distrust their parents as teachers. Teachers must reteach or unteach students because parents' methods are not congruent with the techniques being taught in school. Can you grab her? No, just one of them.
What are you doing?
So also students become confused and lack confidence in their own understanding of literacy skills and techniques being taught, mostly because they're getting something different from their parents and starting to question whether they understood it in class or not. Okay, so we have another quick video. This is a video of Jillian Michaels. Y'all probably heard of her. She's an exercise enthusiast. But she has a daughter, and she has some frustrations of her own.
On Tuesday's episode of Just Jillian, a homework assignment has Jillian Michaels furious. On the episode, Jillian travels to New York City with her daughter, Lukencia. While there, Jillian and Lukencia attempt to complete a homework assignment, but it doesn't go very well. Jillian and Lukencia try to match the uppercase letters to their corresponding lowercase letters, but they mess up. Jillian goes on to say, "I'm 40, I don't know how to play this game. Why don't they give you any instructions for the game? But I'm not going to call because I don't want to seem like a moron who doesn't understand the game."
Yeah, so a lot of parents really don't ask. They just don't do it or do the best they can, and then their kid is like, "What? Because this is not what Miss Smith told me."
It's just like their kids in class. They don't want to ask questions either.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys a quick question. How does the way Jillian feels relate to the way the teachers or you guys felt when you were participating in the activity? Mostly the ones that didn't have instructions.
Well, I was really glad we did.
Yeah.
Because you could have tried a whole bunch of different ways and it wouldn't have worked.
But so how does that relate to the way Jillian feels though? Like she said, "I'm not going to call because
it didn't come with instructions and she doesn't want to feel dumb."
Yeah.
She wants to be able to do it for her kids without asking for help.
Yeah. Anything to add to that?
No.
No.
You don't want to feel like you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
But, yeah, I get it. Like, you don't want to ask for help. Like, you don't want to ask for directions to go somewhere because,
You are your kids' first teachers, and you feel like you should just know how to do this for them to help them.
Right. Because you're supposed to have been to school and know these things, right? Okay. So if the teacher doesn't include directions or they don't have a come to school and learn this type session, you might feel a little out of sorts. Okay. So Jillian was frustrated because she did not have instructions, as many of the participants probably were. She felt embarrassed to call and ask the teacher because she didn't want to seem unintelligent. So, since we know that parental involvement in childhood literacy is extremely important, it makes sense to train parents so that they can give their children the best support possible. And not only become involved parents, like I talked about earlier, going to the school carnival or school play, but also become engaged. And so doing so will benefit the child and the parent as well as the school because the message will be the same from everyone. The child won't be hearing conflicting things from home and school and getting confused along the way. Congruence is key here. Congruence between school and home is important because it ensures that strategies that are being enforced in school are being reinforced at home. Okay. This is important because students need to feel like everyone is on the same page when it comes to their education. Also, parents need to understand the goals and strategies being used so they can support their children as they read and discuss a text. The next session tomorrow will be an in-depth look at how schools can ensure congruence between home and school, and how they can provide support to parents who lack literacy skills themselves. So for the concluding activity, you can use your notes section of your handout there. You'll need a pen. You're going to talk with your partners and decide on a definition for these two terms. You may want to write them down. Parental involvement and parental engagement. Okay, that's parental involvement and parental engagement. Need another pen? Okay, you're going to write a definition for each term and see if you can come up with a quote or a short paragraph explaining the importance of parental engagement as opposed to simple parental involvement. Like, why is parental engagement more important than parental involvement? And when you're finished, I'll have a couple of volunteers to share what they wrote.
Parents that come to school events. Come to events? Or that they're involved in just doing that and engaging. You find them and then say the difference, right? They spend time.
Tell the definition of parental involvement and the definition of engagement.
Or just coming for school events, maybe.
I need pepper.
You got some pepper? Here we go.
Are there any questions? Are the instructions pretty clear?
Parental involvement, like taking our kids to school, basic knowledge of school activities, would be parental involvement. To be actually engaged would be like another level of that.
More hands-on in the classroom.
Volunteering to help in the classroom.
Homework. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Volunteering to help in class.
Sorry, it may be the table too because it's uneven. You're allowed to work together.
Inside and outside of the classroom. More hands-on with learning inside and outside of the classroom.
I would say parental engagement is also like working with the teacher.
Yes.
Understand. The curriculum.
Can you think of a quote for parental engagement? She asked for a quote.
You mean from the lessons?
She just asked for a general quote for like parental engagement.
Oh, I guess you say physically involved.
You wanted a quote?
Yeah, if you can come up with a quote, and then I'm going to have you guys like write it on a piece of paper so it looks really cool about why parental engagement is awesome. Or
Come up with one, I think.
yeah, come on, just
Okay.
make one up. I'll let y'all. When you're finished with that part, you can choose colored paper, or just tell me what color you want.
They're going down orange here. Orange.
Jason, you're insistent on figuring that out, right? color would you like, Jake?
Oh, I have my own color?
Yes.
There's the green over there.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
Sarah, what color would you like?
Green or yellow.
What color would you like consistently? The same color. Your spouse picked the same color, Okay, so these are going to be like posters that you could use in your classroom or in a session where you actually are training parents. So you can write parental engagement and then put like a little quote or short definition about why it's important and what it is, kind of just explain what it is. It's your own creation. If I had markers, you could make it big and awesome. I'm sorry I don't. I'm sure I do. I have to weigh in boxes, so. It shouldn't taste good. It doesn't taste good. No, stop. Stop it. It's not funny. Don't you want to? Don't you want to? Okay. Anyone like to share with your writing or? Go ahead.
The definitions or what?
Yeah, anything you want to share.
We came up with for parental involvement just more recreational, like at school events and fundraisers or just anything that parents can really volunteer with for the school. And parental engagement. It's just more hands-on with learning inside and outside of the classroom and just more teacher-parent communication on lessons and activities and things happening in the school.
It's really good.
Yeah. And then for me, I put the quote as, take the lead. Like, they have been trained, so take the lead with their other hand.
Right. There you go.
And to not be afraid to ask questions on anything. No dumb questions.
Yeah, no dumb questions exist.
Yes.
That's true. That's good. Excellent.
Well, I'm not a teacher, so I don't know.
Yes, you are. You teach at home. You're your child's teacher.
So engagement to me is like to be physically involved, not just involved with whatever, but physically involved or engaged in whatever you're doing. Right.
So you're not just sitting there saying, do your homework.
Right.
You're
You're
actually
going to be physically involved.
in the moment with your child.
That's what being engaged is being physically involved in something. So understanding the school activities.
Yeah, good. And you could even branch off of that and say that if when you don't understand, you know you're aware of that and you seek out understanding. So,
yeah.
Cool. Anyone else, or should I wait another minute or two?
We're about done.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, have take the classroom home. Same goals, same methods, same knowledge.
Yes, that's
good.
really good. I like that.
Thank you.
It's kind of like a little slogan.
Yeah, in your classroom.
Overachievers.
You want to be on this side of the table?
Can you take that in front of the camera and read it? I just want to make sure that the volume picks up on
Yeah,
that.
I'm afraid that it's going to blow all along. Okay, let's see if you can see this. This is my poster. I would write, take the classroom home. Same goals, same methods, same knowledge. Yoo-hoo!
Excellent. Okay, do you want to share yours, Mr. St. Marie, or
Senior, the junior and senior here.
Okay.
Parental involvement is knowing is cursory knowledge of the child's schedules and taking them to school and encouraging them to do their homework. But it's not a real commitment to a total commitment to the child's education. It's a cursory involvement rather than as opposed to parental engagement where the parent is physically involved after school and at home, working with the child at home with the homework and communicating with the teacher continuously during the week or wherever is necessary, and being at the school to help with the child's and other children's learning in the classroom.
I like what you said about doing whatever is necessary. That's something that is kind of like the epitome of parental engagement. It's like if you're in it to win it 100%, you are going to do whatever is necessary to make sure that your child is going to succeed. And that includes communication, doing whatever you've got to do. All right, that concludes our presentation for today, and I hope that you guys gleaned some good information. Do you have any questions before we close?
No.
Yes.
We can talk, or maybe you're going to do this another time, about having some short meetings. Maybe we could discuss that at a conference like that.
Yes.
When we start.
That's in the next session. That's in the next 45-minute session where we're actually going to talk about what can we do to improve this parental engagement. Today we were just talking about what is the reason we need to teach parents. Why do we need to train them? So tomorrow we'll talk about how to train them.